So I've been imaging all night, and this is my new telescope. It's a Celestron Row Ackerman F2 Schmidt astrograph. I just wanted to show you how I torture my telescope. This is frost all over the whole thing. See the frost? That's my auto guider. So we did imaging all night on, well, not all night, for a couple of hours. I was doing the Cone Nebula. Christmas tree cluster. That's my new mount. It is cold out here. Frost all over the thing. So that's the heater, the dew heater thing, and so you can see this bottom part here doesn't have much frost on it, but it's not big enough to go all the way around. It's for my 8-inch. So I just connected it with some Velcro. But let's see, is it warm? Yeah, it's still warm. So it's heating up the thing. There's my auto guider's objective. It was having trouble with the I was trying to get it to lock onto a star and I couldn't figure it out. But now I know. It's because it's all full of ice crystals on the front of the lens. So usually this makes for good imaging though, because the cold temperatures do pretty well with imaging. So inside the dew shield I'm frosted over. Almost down to the corrector plate, but the corrector plate looks good. Don't see any ice crystals on the corrector plate. That's good. When you got ice crystals growing off your corrector plate, that's usually not too good. There, I don't see anything going on right there that looks bad. Everything else is frosty though. That's flashes of frost coming off of the deck and my footprints. And that's my observing table. My computer. If I don't fall off of this deck, I'm going to step back here and get a wide angle view. So this system did pretty well last night. I was monitoring it from inside. I'm connected to Team Viewer right now, so I'm going to disconnect that here pretty quick. But this is one thing I don't remember to do much, is to document the frost. Frost on the keypad. You can see it flashing on the keypad. Yeah, let's see. I better shut down Team Viewer. Let's see. Yep, I just want to shut you down. Let's see. Close all connections. Okay. So So we're officially disconnected from TeamViewer. Let's see. So I think I'll just leave the computer on because I still got to download some files. And I need to slew the telescope up to its home position. RA switch fail. I don't know what that means. Let's see if we can get to utilities. Let's see, we're going to go to I'm going to move to switch. Go to the RA switch. So this should make it start to go. And then we want to move it to the deck switch. We'll let it do its thing here. So this is the position I'm going to leave it at. So I'm just going to throw a cover on it for now because it's too darn cold to do much else right now. My fingers are about to freeze. So I'm going to leave it right there and put it in hibernate. Turn it off. Let's see, let's go back. Go to hibernate. Set the scope into position and hibernate it. And then power it off. So now when I come back out, if I don't bump it too much, then should be able to just start right back up. All my stars will be aligned. That's the end of this set. This is the view zoomed in at 100% of the picture I'm taking of the Christmas tree cluster. So the exposures are 5 minutes long. And I'm just doing a series using the Sharp Cap imaging program. The gain is set at 100. I'm subtracting dark frames and calibrating with flat field images. And so I'm monitoring this remotely using TeamViewer. So this is the view from inside my house on a 55-inch TV. It's cold outside, it's 24 degrees, frost on everything. So it's not fun to sit out there and monitor, but it's nice to see what's going on so I can monitor things like how well the tracking's going. So right now it's doing really well. So RA is tracking at a correction of half a second. And the RMS error has been fluctuating between 0.98 and 1.02. Deck error is right around 0.61, pretty normal. I've got the correction set for south only on the declination. and the tracking has been really pretty good. I focused on the stars at the edge of the frame to make them round. That was my only criteria, was to get round stars on the edge, in the center edge of the frame. The right and left corners could not make the stars absolutely round there. The colors won't focus all on the same spot. It looks pretty good though until you zoom in at like 300 power. So this image here is zoomed at 100, so I'm going to zoom it out. So this action that I'm doing here is happening out at the telescope, which is about probably 150 feet away, outside on my viewing deck. So I'm just going to make it so it fills the whole screen. And I'll turn off this crosshairs. So that's what that looks like. That's a full field 35mm format. And one of my concerns, I'm going to get rid of this hand controller thing. The hand controller is to run the telescope. So one of my concerns is this stripe right here. So you can see this stripe goes all the way up through here, and if you look at it, it kind of covers almost an arc right in through this area and to the right. And I've noticed that my dew shield makes some kind of reflection, and I'm just not sure what's causing that stripe. It seems to be there all over the sky, so pretty much decided that it doesn't matter so much which way I point the camera at the sky, it's there. So the gradient is going from left to right across this image. So I'm using Starry Night. So this is the program that I can steer the scope with. And so if I click on an object like the Crab Nebula here, I can slew the scope over this Crab Nebula from inside the house here using Team Viewer. Gotta be careful what I'm doing here, I'll click myself out. So there, I'm back on my image. I like to look at my image zoomed in. And I go back to 100%. It's a lot funner to watch it. So there's the cone nebula right there. This is all part of the Christmas tree cluster right here. And I like to watch my auto guider. So I just sit down here. I've got a bed sitting next to the TV in this room, and I can take a nap and just watch. So for the last 2 nights in a row, I've crashed my telescope. So I've let the thing run up against its hard stop. And when that happens, you lose all your calibrations. So if it crashes, you gotta reset all the alignment stars. which is a drag because that happened at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I still had some more imaging time I could do, but I just didn't want to go through and realign the telescope and do the all-star line and all that. So trying to avoid crashing. Hopefully I'll get out there in time. It's 3:33 a.m. right now, and I expect it to crash right around 5:30, I believe. Just an estimate. So if I could figure out what's making these flares right here around these brighter stars, that'd be good. Now the camera has a cable that runs out of the front of the telescope to the edge. So I'm thinking that might be making this flare. But I'm really not sure because I've got a dark spot right here on both sides. So I think either the dew shield or the camera cord is making these two artifacts in these bright stars. And the dew shield's pushed all the way back against it, it stops, but I'm pretty sure I can see that dew shield in a really highly stretched image. So, anyway. Still trying to figure out what's making those marks on the stars. So they don't look bad when they're zoomed all the way out. And I can do a little bit of processing from inside here. I can move the histogram stretch a little bit one way or the other. See what that looks like zoomed in. Might have changed it a little bit, darkened it up some. So I'll be able to take these images out of Photoshop, and Images Plus is what I use for processing software, and Registacks. And Registar. Actually, it's Registar for stacking the images. I'll probably be able to pull out a lot of that red and increase the contrast quite a bit. So far I like the SharpCap Pro program pretty good. I haven't had any success doing the live stacking on the full frame camera. It works really well on the small camera. So I've got an ASI 120 MC small camera. It's more like a planetary camera, and it live stacks really well using that camera. This camera is an ASI 094 MC full frame 35mm format camera, and it won't live stack on it so far. I haven't been able to get it to do it so far. It says it can't find alignment stars. But the program works pretty good. I found out that if I try to average, well, when I'm setting up a flat field, if I pick more than 6 frames to average, it crashes the program. And I usually don't, I mean, the default is 5, so, and the same thing is default in dark frame acquisition is 5 images. So I don't know if they picked that because that's its limit or what, but if I pick very many more than that, the program crashes and I have to restart it. And it says that I have a memory allocation error. And so my computer that I'm using is a 16 gigabyte of 16 gigabytes of SD RAM. So I suppose I could be using up all the RAM with these programs I have running. And the file size at RAW, so you're shooting at 16-bit RAW, and output format is the FITS format. Those files are 70 megabyte files, so each time this thing gets a new picture, it's putting 70 megabyte files into a folder. So that management on data storage is going to be an issue. So I've only had this thing up and running for a few days and haven't had very many opportunities to experiment with it because the weather just hasn't been good. So, but I've been overcoming issues as they come up. And there have been a lot of issues that have come up. I mean, from power to, computer not being big enough to deal with it, so I had to buy another computer. So I bought a desktop with a little bit more capacity. I've got light gradient issues. I've been trying to figure out a dew shield issue. The dew shield that comes, the way the dew shield's made is it has a felt rim around the inside, probably to reduce reflections, but they doubled up. I put 2 layers thick on the felt rim right where it attaches to the front of the corrector plate, and you can't hardly push it on there. I mean, it takes some, you have to manhandle it to get it to push it on there, and it won't go all the way down. So I figured out that I was actually seeing the end of the dew shield in my images, so I cut and tore out the extra felt, and now the dew shield pushes all the way back into its position like it's supposed to, but I still think I'm seeing some reflection off of that dew shield. I don't, anyway, haven't figured that out yet. But I've been able to do some imaging, and haven't been able to process any yet. I just haven't had time. Between working and staying up all night, I've only been getting a few hours of sleep.